Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Speak English with Mishu. I'm Emily, and as always, I'm here with Liam.
Hey friends, it's always good to have you here. If you're someone trying to improve your English while learning life-changing ideas, you're in the right place.
Absolutely. So, Liam, how's your week been?
Honestly, it's been a mix, but I did manage to wake up early 5 days in a row, and I used that time to read just 10 pages a day. It felt small, but I'm noticing a big shift in my focus.
That's amazing. This reminds me of something I've been thinking about a lot. Micro habits. Little things that seem almost too small to matter, but over time, they change everything.
Yes, and I remember something that happened last week. You told me you started journaling just one line every night.
I did. Just one sentence. It sounds silly, but that one sentence gave me peace of mind, clarity, and helped me sleep better. That's what today's episode is all about. Micro habits that improved my life.
And trust us, it's not about doing more. It's about doing small things that matter. Stay with us, because by the end of this episode, you'll discover how just 2 minutes a day could change your confidence, your English, and maybe even your life. So before we dive into all the little habits that changed our lives, let's take a moment to understand why this topic is so important, especially for you, our dear listener.
Have you ever felt overwhelmed by big goals? Like you want to speak fluent English, or wake up earlier, or finally become confident. But no matter how motivated you are, life gets in the way.
You start with big energy, right? You say, from tomorrow, I'll study for 2 hours every day. But then tomorrow comes. You're tired. You skip it, you feel guilty, and slowly you give up.
That cycle used to control my life. I'd set these huge expectations, and when I couldn't meet them, I'd feel like I was the problem. But the truth is, it wasn't about willpower. It was about the system.
Exactly. That's where micro habits come in. They're small, sometimes so small that they feel silly, like writing just one word in your journal, or learning just one new English phrase a day. But over time, these small actions add up in ways you can't imagine.
And here's the beauty. Micro habits don't rely on motivation. You don't need to feel excited or have extra time. You just need to show up for 2 minutes every day.
I'll be honest, this episode is personal, because the habits we'll share today, we've actually used them, and they've helped us become more confident, more focused, and better English speakers too.
Yes, this isn't just about life improvement. It's also about learning English smarter. We'll show you how small habits can improve your vocabulary, fluency, and communication without burning out.
So if you're someone who feels stuck or tired of starting and stopping, this episode is for you. We're going to walk you through the tiny steps that helped us build momentum and how you can apply them starting today.
And don't worry, we're not just listing random habits. We'll explain the real-life problems that led us to them, the emotional blocks we had to face, and how we slowly rebuild ourselves, one tiny action at a time.
So take a deep breath. Let go of the pressure to be perfect and open your mind to the idea that just one small habit, one shift, can be the start of a completely different life.
Let's get started. Let's be real for a second. Before we discovered the power of micro habits, life felt heavy. I remember waking up feeling behind every single day. I had so many goals, so many dreams, but I also had 100 reasons not to take action.
Same here. For me, the biggest struggle was inconsistency. I'd start something strong, like practicing English 30 minutes a day. But after 3 days, I'd skip once, then twice, and by the end of the week, it was over.
And then comes the guilt, right? You start feeling like a failure. Why can't I stick to anything? Maybe I'm just lazy. That inner voice becomes so loud, and instead of building confidence, you lose more of it every day.
Exactly. And when it came to English learning, oh boy, I used to compare myself to fluent speakers and think, I'll never get there. I'd try to memorize 50 new words in one night, and by the next day, I'd forget all of them.
I was the same. I had this huge notebook filled with English grammar rules, phrases, and motivational quotes. But guess what? I barely opened it after the first week. It just became the symbol of what I couldn't do.
And that's the trap most people fall into. We try to change everything at once. We tell ourselves, from tomorrow, I'll fix my sleep, improve my English, start exercising, drink more water, and read a book a week. It sounds ambitious, but it's actually a recipe for burnout.
It's like trying to carry 10 buckets of water all at once, when your hands can barely hold one. Eventually, everything spills, and you're left with nothing but frustration.
There was a time when I thought I had no discipline. I thought I was just someone who couldn't change. But then I realized something. It wasn't me, it was my approach. I was trying to build a house overnight instead of laying one brick a day.
That's such a powerful image, laying one brick. You know, one of the first micro habits that changed me was making my bed every morning. Just that. It took 30 seconds, but it made me feel like I had already succeeded at something small.
Mine was different. I started by learning just one English phrase a day. I wrote it on a sticky note and stuck it on my wall. That one phrase became a reminder that I was making progress, even if it didn't feel huge.
So, if you've ever felt like you're stuck, like you want to improve but don't know where to begin, we want you to know you are not alone. We've been there, and you don't need to change your entire life to start feeling better.
What you need is momentum. And momentum doesn't come from big leaps. It comes from tiny, repeatable steps. That's what we're about to share with you next.
Stay with us, because in the next section, we'll break down the emotional and logical causes behind why we struggle to stick to habits and how understanding them will help you build real change.
Now let's go a little deeper. If microhabits are so simple, why do so many people ignore them? Why do we keep chasing big results while forgetting the power of small steps?
It comes down to a mix of emotion and logic. On the emotional side, we live in a world that rewards big change. Think about it. We celebrate people who lose 20 kilograms, not those who stretch for 2 minutes a day for 6 months.
Yes, social media makes it worse. You scroll through Instagram or YouTube and see someone saying, I learned English in 3 months, or this morning routine changed my life. And suddenly, your own small effort feels invisible.
And that makes us impatient. We want results fast. But habits don't work that way. Habits are invisible progress. You don't see the result right away, so your brain tells you, it's not working. Why bother?
That's where logic kicks in. The logical mind looks for proof. It wants to see numbers, results, visible change. But microhabits don't offer instant proof. They offer compound growth, something that only shows up after time.
There's also a deeper issue, perfectionism. We think, if I can't do it perfectly, I won't do it at all. I remember one time I promised myself I'd write in my journal for 30 minutes a night. On the third day, I was tired, so I skipped it. And guess what? I never opened that journal again.
Exactly. I used to set unrealistic goals, like I'll study English grammar for 1 hour daily. But if I missed one day, I'd feel like I had failed. That all-or-nothing mindset kills consistency.
So here's the truth. The problem isn't you, it's your strategy. You're not lazy, you're not undisciplined, you're just relying on motivation. And motivation fades. What works is systems.
Microhabits are systems. They don't care how you feel. You do them anyway. Because they're so small, they don't need energy. And once you do one small thing, your brain says, hey, I did something good. Let's keep going.
Let's also talk about identity. This is something that changed everything for me. I stopped saying, I'm trying to be organized, and started saying, I'm someone who keeps things tidy. That small identity shift gave me power.
That's huge. When you say, I'm learning English every day, even if it's just one word, you're building the identity of a confident English speaker. That identity is what pushes you forward on the tough days.
So if you've been stuck in the cycle of starting and quitting, just know this. You're not broken, your dreams are still valid, and you don't need a massive plan. You just need one small win.
In the next section, we're going to give you that first win. We'll share the first micro-habit that changed our lives and how you can start it today in less than 2 minutes.
Stay close. It's going to be simple, powerful, and real. All right, let's talk about the very first micro-habit that completely shifted my mindset. It's super simple, and honestly, it almost felt too small to matter at first. But over time, it became the foundation of my confidence.
What was it?
It was this. One-line journaling. Every night before bed, I would write just one sentence in my notebook. That's it. No pressure to write a page or reflect deeply, just one thought, one feeling, or even one word that captured my day.
That's so powerful. I love that it removes the pressure to be perfect. What kind of things would you write?
Sometimes it was something like, I felt nervous during the presentation, but I survived. Or I smiled at a stranger today. Or even still stuck, but still trying.
Wow. That's not just a habit, it's emotional honesty. And it builds self-awareness, which is something most of us skip over.
Exactly. I didn't realize it at the time, but this tiny act of reflection made me more mindful of my choices during the day. I started noticing things like the moments I stayed calm or the times I was kind to myself.
And I'm guessing that awareness started to affect your actions too, right?
Absolutely. It was like planting seeds in my mind. The more I noticed good things, the more I repeated them. And over time, I felt more in control, more centered, even during stressful days.
I love this habit because it's accessible to everyone. You don't need fancy tools. You don't even need a journal. Just one line in your phone's notes app is enough.
And here's something important. You don't have to be a writer. This isn't about being creative. It's about being consistent. That one line repeated daily starts to build a new identity, someone who reflects, someone who grows.
Let me ask you this. What if someone listening says, I don't know what to write?
Great question. You can start with a simple prompt like, what's one moment I felt proud today? What made me smile today? What did I learn today about myself or about English?
That's beautiful. And I want to add this. If you're an English learner, this habit helps your language too. Writing one sentence in English every day builds confidence with grammar, vocabulary, and even your thinking skills.
Yes, you're not just building emotional strength, you're improving your English at the same time. It's one of the easiest and most powerful dual-purpose habits you can adopt.
So here's your micro challenge. Tonight, before bed, write one line. It could be in English, it could be about your mood, your progress, your fears, just one line. That's all.
Don't worry if it's messy. Don't wait for motivation. Just do it. And if you repeat this for 7 days, I promise something inside you will shift.
Coming up next, we'll talk about another micro habit that helped me take back control of my focus and energy, especially in the morning. This one changed the way I start every day.
You won't want to miss it.
All right, now it's my turn to share a micro habit that made a huge difference in my daily life. It sounds simple, maybe even boring, but it changed the way I show up every single morning.
Ooh, I love this already. What is it?
It's called 2-minute morning anchoring. Here's how it works. As soon as I wake up, before checking my phone or thinking about the day's problems, I take just 2 minutes to do 3 simple things. Sit in silence, take 3 deep breaths, and say one sentence out loud about how I want to feel today.
Wow, so simple and yet so grounding. What kind of sentence do you say?
It changes depending on how I feel. Some days I say, "Today I choose calm." Other days, "Today I will speak English with confidence." It's like setting an intention, but in a very gentle, personal way.
I love that. Most people wake up and immediately get pulled into stress. Messages, emails, pressure. But what you're doing is pausing to center yourself first.
Exactly. This habit gave me a feeling of control. Even if the rest of the day is chaotic, I've already had one peaceful win. And over time, that 2-minute practice started shaping the way I respond to things, especially when I feel anxious or overwhelmed.
I've noticed this in my own life too. When you start your day with intention, your decisions become lighter. You react less and you reflect more.
Yes, and this habit is especially powerful for English learners. Think about it. What if every morning you woke up and said out loud, "Today I will speak one English sentence with confidence," or "Today I will learn one new word"?
That's like programming your brain for success. And because it's just 2 minutes, you can't fail. You don't need a fancy morning routine. You don't need to wake up at 5 a.m. You just need 2 minutes of stillness and direction.
Also, this habit helped me reduce my phone addiction in the morning. Before, I'd wake up and scroll for 20 to 30 minutes before even getting out of bed. I didn't realize how much that drained me.
So true. The first thing you give your attention to sets your energy. And if it's bad news or comparison traps online, your mind gets cluttered before the day even starts.
But now, with this micro habit, I feel like I own my mornings. And from that place of calm, I actually want to practice English, or write in my journal, or even go for a walk.
So, here's the challenge for our listeners. Tomorrow morning, before anything else, just sit up, breathe, and say one sentence about how you want to feel or what you want to do. It can be in English or your native language, but say it with heart.
It may not seem like much, but I promise you, 2 intentional minutes in the morning can change the next 16 hours of your life.
Up next, we'll share a micro habit that helped us stay consistent with English learning without pressure, guilt, or burnout. This one's perfect for anyone who wants to make steady progress, even on busy days.
Let's keep the momentum going.
Okay, so now we've talked about journaling at night and anchoring your mindset in the morning. Let's talk about something many learners struggle with the most: consistency, especially with learning English.
Yes. People ask us all the time, how do I stay motivated to practice English every day? And to be honest, motivation isn't the answer. What works is this next micro habit I started using daily.
Let's hear it.
I call it the one English input rule. It means every day I must expose myself to at least one piece of English input, no matter what.
I love that, and it's so flexible. What counts as one input?
It can be anything. One English YouTube short, one podcast segment, one article, one motivational quote, even one sentence from a movie subtitle. The point is, 0 days is not allowed. Even 1 minute of input counts as success.
This habit is brilliant because it removes all the pressure. You don't have to study for 30 minutes or memorize anything. You just stay connected to the language every single day.
Exactly. And over time, that 1 minute input turns into 5, then 10, then 20. But even on the busiest, most stressful days, I still win. I still show up. That's the key to confidence without burnout.
And psychologically, it does something powerful. It tells your brain, I'm an English learner. I don't skip. That identity builds consistency from the inside out.
Here's what surprised me. Even just listening to one English sentence a day made my listening skills sharper. I started picking up the rhythm of native speakers, common phrases, and natural pronunciation.
Yes, that's the magic of immersion. You don't always have to study English. You can simply live around it. That's what this habit helps you do.
Want to make it even easier? Here's a tip. Create a go-to English input folder on your phone. Save 5 to 10 short videos, audio clips, or articles you enjoy. When your energy is low, just open that folder and play one. Habit done.
Let me share how I used this habit when I was really busy. I had exams, a part-time work, and I was exhausted. So I downloaded a podcast called Everyday English for Beginners. I'd listen to just 2 minutes while brushing my teeth. That's it.
Boom. Progress made. No guilt, no burnout. And that's how you build real fluency over time, not in one day, but in small daily pieces.
So to our listeners, idea your micro challenge today is this. Choose one English input and commit to listening, reading, or watching it today, even if it's just one sentence. Do it without fail.
And trust me, you're not just learning English, you're building a lifestyle.
And our next part, we'll share a habit that helped us improve our focus, mental clarity, and energy, especially during those difficult scattered days.
And it has nothing to do with language, but it has everything to do with learning and personal growth. Okay, this next habit, it might surprise you because it has nothing to do with grammar, vocabulary, or speaking, but it has everything to do with how well you learn, focus, and stay present, whether in English or in life.
I already know what you're about to say because this micro habit helped me too. It's 5 minutes of intentional stillness. No music, no scrolling, no multitasking. Just sitting and breathing.
Yes, that's it. We both started doing it around the same time, remember? It felt awkward at first, like, what do I even do for 5 minutes if I'm not distracted?
Right? I used to think stillness was lazy or that I was wasting time. But what I discovered is this. When your mind is always rushing, it can't learn. When your brain is overloaded, your confidence suffers. And when you're never still, you're never really you.
Exactly. That's why I started doing this micro habit every day. Just 5 minutes of mental decluttering. I would sit down, close my eyes, and take deep, slow breaths. I wasn't trying to meditate perfectly. I was just creating a little space in my mind.
And the best part? After just a few days of doing this, I noticed I could focus longer during conversations. I remembered English words more easily, and I felt less overwhelmed when speaking.
That's the magic. When your mind is quiet, your thoughts become clear. You begin to notice patterns, make better decisions, and feel more in control of your reactions.
Let's be honest, most of us are living in constant stimulation. Our phones buzz every minute. Our minds jump from one app to another, and then we wonder why we feel anxious or stuck.
But you don't need a fancy meditation routine. You just need 5 minutes of silence. You can sit on your bed, in your car, even on a bench outside. Just be still, breathe deeply, and let your brain reset.
And for our English learners, this habit is gold because when you clear your mind, you make space for language to land. You don't have to force words. They start to come naturally.
Here's a small twist I added. During those 5 minutes, I sometimes repeat a phrase silently like, I'm calm, or I can learn anything. Just a tiny affirmation to strengthen my mindset.
That's so powerful. You're not just finding focus, you're also training your inner voice to be kind and strong. That's something most people ignore, but it affects everything we do.
So, here's your next challenge. Find 5 minutes today. Put your phone away. Sit still. Breathe deeply. Don't do anything. Just be.
And if you want to take it further, repeat a simple phrase in English. Something like, I'm learning every day. Let that become your inner rhythm.
We know this may feel unusual at first, but remember, this is a micro habit, not a meditation retreat. Just 5 minutes, that's it, and it can make a lifetime of difference.
In the next section, we're going to talk about something everyone faces: doubt, fear, and frustration. Even with micro habits, these feelings still show up.
But don't worry, we'll show you exactly how we deal with them and how you can keep going even when it's hard.
All right, let's get honest. Even with all these powerful micro habits, you will have bad days. There will be times when you forget, when you feel lazy, when you feel like nothing is working. And that's completely normal.
Absolutely. I've had weeks where I stopped journaling, stopped doing my 2-minute morning, even skipped English input. And in the past, I used to beat myself up for that. I'd say things like, I'm failing again.
Oh, yes, I know that voice well. Why am I like this? Why can't I stay consistent like other people? It's easy to believe that a small break means the whole journey is over.
But here's what changed everything for me. I stopped trying to be perfect, and I started focusing on returning. Not never miss a day, but always come back.
That's such a key mindset shift, because success doesn't come from doing everything every day. It comes from not quitting completely when you miss a day.
Exactly. Missing once is human. Quitting completely is a decision. So when I fall off track now, I simply say, I missed it. That's okay. I'll start again today.
You know what helped me? Tracking habits with no pressure. I printed out a small calendar and just put a check mark when I did my habit. No guilt if I missed a day, just a quiet reminder. You're still showing up.
Another big obstacle is comparison. You might look at fluent English speakers or highly disciplined people and feel small, like you're too far behind.
But here's the truth. You don't see their behind the scenes. You don't see their bad days, their skipped routines, their doubts. Every confident person you admire has had to restart more times than you can count.
So instead of comparing, compete with yourself. Can you do just a little better than yesterday? One more sentence, one more deep breath, one more podcast.
Yes, and celebrate every small win. We often ignore progress because it doesn't feel big enough. But those quiet, invisible victories, that's where your real transformation lives.
Let's also talk about fear. Sometimes people don't start a habit not because they're lazy, but because they're afraid. What if I fail again? What if I'm not good enough?
That fear is valid. We've both felt it. But micro habits give you a way to move through fear, gently, without force, because it's hard to be scared of one English sentence or 2 minutes of breathing.
So if you're listening right now and thinking, I'm not strong enough to change, I want you to hear this. You don't need to be strong. You just need to be present. You don't need motivation. You just need a tiny action. And you don't need to be perfect. You just need to come back.
We believe in you, not because you're already confident, but because you showed up to listen. And that means something inside you is ready.
In the next part, we're going to have a little fun. We'll do a real-life role play between me and Emily. You'll hear what these micro habits sound like in daily life and how they help in real conversations.
So grab a notebook or just relax and listen. It's going to be fun, helpful, and very real. Good morning, Liam. Did you get your 2-minute morning check-in done today?
I did. I actually sat by the window this time, took 3 deep breaths, and said, today I will stay calm and focused. Felt good.
That's awesome. I love that you're still doing it. Mine was quick. I said, I will be kind to myself today. And honestly, I needed that reminder.
Rough weekend?
Yeah. I skipped journaling for 2 days, and part of me felt guilty. But then I told myself, it's okay. One line